So last topic here is not going to be too long. We're just going to be answering a couple of questions that we got regarding the PlayStation meeting. I asked people, on Twitter to send me a question about the PlayStation meeting. What do they think? What would they like us to answer, rather? So we're going to there are two questions. First one is from Blessing. He's been on the show before. Everyone knows Blessing. Blessing Jr. over at Twitter. If you want to go follow him, he's awesome. He does the OK Beast podcast. Anyways, he asked us, Dom, what out of left field thing could they do to screw it up? Talking about Sony and the PlayStation meeting, like, what could they do that we don't maybe anticipate or we don't expect them to do that could completely screw up the PlayStation meeting? For me, I kind of have an easy answer. I think it's the messaging. It's the easiest answer. I think we think that Sony will be good with their messaging because of how they handled the original PS4 announcement in comparison to the Xbox. Xbox's was a travesty, right? That's why a lot of people bought the PS4. They could easily screw up this messaging. It's a very fickle field of, like, we have a slim version that's cheaper. We have a powerful Neo that's more expensive. Everything's running on the Neo. You want to buy the Neo because that games look better. Don't buy the PS4 Slim. And obviously that's not what they would directly say, but I think bad messaging, to me, would answer the question, what out of left field could they do to screw it up? And that'd be bad messaging. What about you? That's kind of the easy answer, so.
Yeah, that is the easy answer. So this is often compared to how phones upgrade every year, and consoles are starting to do that. That's the frequently used comparison. So when I think about when Apple has their events revealing an iPhone, they don't show a speed test of the new iPhone right next to the old one and showing you how much faster and better it is than the old one, right?
Exactly, yeah.
You could do the math and figure that out yourself, and people who like dig into stuff online and stuff will figure that out, that it's this much faster and this is this much better and more RAM, whatever it is. But they don't put them right next to each other and show you a comparison, trying to get you to buy the new one because, you're slighting the people who have the old one. Granted, at iPhone events, usually they do like give you the pricing lineup of the whole line, and it usually includes just the last year's model at a discounted price, right?
Yeah.
Just, like a silhouette of it. They're not showing you like side-by-side kind of stuff. So if, Sony went and did something like, here's Uncharted 4 on the Neo, and here's regular Uncharted 4 right next to it with literally like a graphics comparison like you see on IGN or GameSpot, that'd be a huge mistake. Because you're right, the messaging is super important here. The only other mistake that might come out of left field that would ruin things is the price for the Neo. If it's like $600 or something ridiculous, then
PS3.
Then exactly, and that's why I'm scared, because they've done that in the past and they thought they could do it. Hopefully they're not. They learned enough from that, but that would be something that could ruin it for them.
If they do that, how jaded will gamers be? Because they recently raised the price of PSN, which isn't a big deal. Makes sense. They're equal pricing with Xbox. Makes sense. No one should be mad about that. But how jaded would gamers be if this thing comes out at $600? It's from the rumored specs. It's not as powerful as the Scorpio. Scorpio comes out next year and it's $450, and this is all speculation. Scorpio could easily be $600 or $500 too. But I'm just saying, imagine if Scorpio came out at $450 and it's like, Sony, are you crazy? You want to release this console that's not even as powerful as this one, and this one's coming out at $450, and you're trying to charge $600?
And then you'd have that like foot and mouth, embarrassing price cut, kind of like the 3DS had after it first came out.
Yeah.
Where they dropped the price, like, oh, we're sorry, we screwed up. And then to the people who bought it at full price, they had to they didn't even give them credit. They just gave them a couple free games or something.
Also, I think this goes along with showing a comparison. If they have accidental technical difficulties where they're showing off the PS4 Slim for some reason and it hiccups and then the Neo's working fine for the same game, that could be an issue too, because people are like, oh yeah, well, they're spending more time making sure the Neo version runs well and not the PS4 Slim version. The whole messaging of the pricing and comparing the two, it's people talk crap about Microsoft announcing two consoles at the same time, but they kind of navigated that road pretty well. They're like, this one's coming out this year, it's a slimmer version, get it if you want it. The super powerful one's coming out next year. This is going to be tough if both of these are coming out this fall, because they're like, there's a cheaper one and there's a more expensive one. Which one do you want? And I don't know. It's going to be a tough road. Do I think Sony can do it? Hell yeah, obviously. They can get the right messaging across and make this, gold. But the question was, what could they do to screw it up? And I think we covered most of the avenues. Another thing out of left field, if they decided to raise the price of the PS Plus again during the conference, it's out of left field. So it's not something that shouldn't happen. That would be crazy. If they announce that the PS4 will never have backwards compatibility, that would be crazy. These are all out of left field that I don't think would happen. But like I said, the question was, what do you think out of left field could screw it up? Definitely out of left field. Yeah, I think that's it. Do you have anything else to answer that question? Or you want to move on to the next one?
No, let's move on.
Okay, so the next question is from, let me pull it up here, 1 second, is from Bodacious Chase, Chase Williams over at Twitter, and he told me, or asked rather, what guest appearance would you love to see on stage? So to me, the first thing I thought of was a celebrity appearance, but I'm pretty sure he's meaning like a dev or somebody with Sony. Right. To me, I was thinking like, oh, the Nintendo Direct would be cool if DMX was there. But with the PlayStation meeting, as far as guest, I don't know. I definitely want Shuhei there. It was weird that Shuhei wasn't at E3. That was really weird.
Right. Not a guest, but yeah, I do want him there too.
Well, technically, he is a guest.
He works for Sony, right?
Yeah, but he is a guest at the meeting, though.
However you want to word it, doesn't matter. It'd be great if he was there.
Yeah, as far as... So when I think guest, I think of developers.
Yeah.
One person that I wouldn't be surprised to see... I wouldn't be surprised to see because of the avenue of the Neo, but would be weird because he's kind of already in cahoots with Microsoft a little bit, would be Todd Howard. Anytime I can see Todd Howard on stage, I'm cool with that. I don't think that'll happen, though. It's kind of weird. What would be cool... And would also be out of left field. Imagine if Tom Holland showed up and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm actually voicing Spider-Man in the Sony game." That would be cool.
Be something cool, yeah.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. That'd be really cool.
That'd be really cool. I don't know what else I'd be surprised to see. What do you think?
All right. I got it for you.
Neil Druckmann comes out on stage with...
Yes. That's literally what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
So, Neil Druckmann comes out on stage. They just announced the Neo and said a couple things about it. And now Neo and Neil, those are two different words. I kind of blurred those together right there. Anyway.
Neil
Druckmann comes out on stage through some fog or something, you know. And he starts showing Uncharted 4 on the Neo. It's, you know, kind of describing from a developer point of view what this means and why it's good. Just like Microsoft did when they talked about the Scorpio. They had the developers come and talk about it and say why it's all right and it's great. And why they like it. So he does that. And then he finishes by revealing The Last of Us 2.
Wow. That'd be cool.
No.
It's like...
Yeah, that never...
I think he'll do the thing where like, oh yeah, we got something to show you. And then it starts off quiet and then it builds up.
Yeah.
That's actually a really cool thing of like... So the Microsoft video was cool because they showed off developers talking about the Scorpio and they couldn't really have them like on stage because games are only in development and the console's coming out for a year. What Sony has the advantage of is because the console is presumably coming out this year, imagine if all of their first parties came out on stage, talked about why it's good, but not only talked about it, they actually put their money where their mouth is and they showed the game. Like Sony Santa Monica comes out on stage, talks about, you know, God of War. This is a new experience, and look how much more amazing this game is going to look now that we have this technology at our hands. And then they show something we haven't seen from God of War yet. Neil Druckmann comes out on stage and either shows Last of Us 2, which is highly unlikely, or Uncharted 4 DLC. And just these first parties come out on stage and, you know, show stuff. I don't think Housemarque is a first party, are they?
I don't believe so. I think they'd be second party maybe? I'm not sure.
But see, that'd be cool too because, so a huge issue people had with the PlayStation conference at E3 was diversity. If you have Housemarque come up there and they're like, you know, Alienation, look how good it looks, you know. And they have like, I don't know, maybe Persona 5 devs, Atlas comes out. Like they could have a bunch of different devs come out, maybe 3 to 5, and they just talk about what this means for Sony fans, and then they show what they'll be getting off of it. That'd be really cool. Also, if you got a release date for a game that doesn't have a release date. So we've talked about back and forth at the PlayStation conference, what is coming out in the next year or so and what isn't. I'm a firm believer that a majority of those games aren't even coming out next year. You and Jordan feel differently. What if they came out and they showed Days Gone and they're like, oh yeah, this is actually launched. We have a release date now. Boom. Which is kind of tricky because Sony's kind of had some issues with people delaying their games, but that'd be interesting. What if there's like some blowout with Last Guardian too, where they actually show more of that game? Because some of the stuff they show is kind of weird. Final Fantasy, I don't know if you want to be at this meeting. I think people are already upset with you. Just be quiet until the game comes out. People don't want to hear more about this game, you know? I think it'd be a huge mistake for Square Enix to have Final Fantasy at this event by any means, unless it's for the VR segment. But even then, you're treading on tough territory there. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's got to be some type of game announcement, maybe just one or two. You know, like you're saying, a release date or another trailer of something that had not come out yet, right?
Yeah.
I think there's got to be something. Not too much, though, because remember, they still want to do PSX later this year.
Yeah, but that's definitely more...
It's more niche stuff. But
yeah, that's where I would expect a Sony handheld to get announced, though, over a PlayStation meeting.
Yeah.
Because this is... I'm going to be watching this event. I'm not a PlayStation gamer. This is an event where people are... Because this has a ripple effect for the future of the industry as far as, like, the Neo, its price point, its specs, when it comes out. Whereas a handheld announcement is kind of more niche. Or niche, as however you want to say that. Another thing that would be, this is total dream scenario before we get to the closing of the show. Imagine if they come out and they're like, one of the games you can expect to be coming to Neo in the future, and it's a super high-res, super beautiful looking remaster of Crash. Like, it's just like next level, because like Crash looks very cartoony, right? And you expect that the remaster is just going to be smoother polygons. But imagine if it's like there's like fur textures on Crash Bandicoot, and it's like this basically Crash in like the Uncharted engine. You know what I'm saying? That'd be crazy, because they're like, look how beautiful Crash looks. That'd be insane.
As crazy as that would be, and as unlikely as that would be, I just thought of something even more unlikely and crazy, but technically it could happen. So the rumors were that Nintendo was going to announce and reveal the NX in September of this year. What if this PlayStation meeting is also the NX reveal, because the NX is on PS4 or something like that?
And the console handheld hybrid is actually the NX plugs into the PlayStation 4 Neo.
Fuck off. I can't even. I can you imagine? Like, the internet would, first of all, would explode.
That would make a PS4 a must-own console immediately.
Wow. Let's make this happen, Sony and Nintendo.
No.
It would just be it would be unfair, though.
Well, I mean, a dream scenario would be, this would be, so, you know, the NX is only compatible with the PS4, but then Nintendo announces that they're actually a software platform now, and their only thing that they're going to have is the NX that only works with the PS4, but all their software comes to all platforms. I'd be fine with that. This is total hyperbole, and I don't think this is the case.
It's very ridiculous.
I think it's very coincidental, but if that happened, it'd be insane.